Good evening and welcome to Success in the City. My name's Helen Webster. I'm with the lovely
Des Flanagan, and our brilliant guest tonight is
Craig Carden.
Oh, thank you, Craig, for joining us. And it's lovely to have Des here with us as well. So thank you, Des, for stepping in for Sandra.
Thanks, Helen.
Yeah. So Sandra's at a meeting tonight. So that's why Des has stepped in to help us out. So that's brilliant.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. There you go.
What an answer. What an answer. So Craig has given his time up and we'll find out loads more about Craig in a little bit. And the first thing we do is we shout out to the kids, any little people who've done amazing things this week, last week, whenever. Give them a little, they can be little or big. Give them a shout out. Do you want to go first, Des, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I want to give a shout out to a young lady called Mia from the Wendy Sales School of Dance, Nova McGull. Now, she's just I think she's in Prague, and she's just danced in the World Championships and come fifth.
Wow.
In the whole world, you know. And in fact, she came top in, out of that fifth, she was the top in England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, you know. So, but to get fifth in the world is brilliant, you know. And
unbelievable.
It's a great school, a local school in McGull. And I think they've got about 4 world champions as well. So from a small school, they're doing really well. And she's great with the kids, Wendy. So well done, Mia. From the Wendy Sales School of Dance. Yeah.
Well done, Mia. And well done, Wendy, for producing that many world champions.
Yeah, brilliant. You know.
Yeah. Craig, have you got any young people, little people you want to give a shout out to?
Do you know, this isn't local. I appreciate its success in the city, but this may kind of inspire young people. So I just looked it up online then. I'd seen it either yesterday or this morning. And this is a girl called Dorothy Jean Tillman II. So she's an American girl. She's 17 years of age, and she's just become the youngest person in the world to earn a PhD, a doctorate.
Wow.
So that's just phenomenal. I mean, she started like studying at the age of 10. I think she'd done a first degree by 12, then a master's. By 17 years of age, she's done a PhD, and a PhD full-time, 3 to 4 years. I mean, I've been working on mine for 6 years. So to think that at 17 years of age, she's done that, just shows you that age isn't a barrier to success.
100%. I love that. And yeah, either end of the scale, younger or older.
Yeah, younger or older.
So brilliant. Yeah. Well done to Dorothy. Yeah. And as you say, it's nice to like inspire others, isn't it? You know, if somebody can do it, others can do it. Well, I'm going to give a shout out to James and Hannah Walker. So James is 6, Hannah's 4, and Rach and Charlie went on a conference last week. So I stayed in their house and had them. So on the Thursday morning, we got ready for school. So having a timer and a stopwatch on your watch is the best thing ever. So I was like, right, how long will it take you to get dressed? Go, like that. So, and then I said to them, right, tomorrow morning, we're going to beat that. I said, we're going to be amazing tomorrow morning. So on the first morning, it took us 3 minutes, 47 seconds to get ready.
Okay.
Right. On the second morning, it took us 38 seconds. They were like that ready with the clothes, and then they were going. They went,
with the clothes on.
It was the fastest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, brilliant, well done. But they were dead good. They were really well behaved. And we had a lovely time together. So I'm going to give them 2 a massive, massive shout out. They did amazing. So there you go. So lots of young people doing fabulous things. What's a success for you personally this week? We're going to go to Craig first.
I'd say the end of last week, I'd just done a quality assurance in the industry where I work in education. I've been an teacher assessor for like 12 years plus. But one of the qualifications that you need is internal quality assurance. So in my work, I work for Unicourse. I said, I think I need to do this course because I've just taken over 2 departments. And I did the course. You can get 12 months to do the course, but I finished it in 30 days. So it's like a level 4 qualification. Literally just like speeded through it and got it within 30 days. And the certificate, actually, it's just behind me. It only come in the post this morning. So that was good. So that's
well done, lad. Well done.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Give you that for that.
Takes a year.
Yeah.
Did it in 30 days. Bish, bash, bosh, no messing. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. That's a good success. What about you, Des?
My books arrived this week.
Yeah.
So it feels that last time I was on your show, we had the one. But so it feels a little bit real now, you know.
Amazing.
So that picked me up a little bit this week. That's about it, really. So I can start giving them out now. And I'm doing stuff with it. You know,
100%.
The idea is to write a sales course around that now, you know, and maybe another couple of books, but definitely the course will accompany the book, you know. So happy days. So I'll be busy doing that.
Get on you.
Over the next, will be 30 days, like Craig. But
do it in 28 days.
Months, we'll get that sorted. I'll do it in 28.
When you put your mind to something, you know, like Helen was talking about getting kids ready, you know, once it becomes a focal point, you know, the rest is easy. It's when it's not, you know, in the range in front here. If it's not a target, you're not going for anything. So it just takes forever. But once you set that target, then all guns blazing.
100%. John Howie's listening in, and John Howie says, I want to buy a copy, Des. Catch up this week.
Ooh. Okay. It's double for them. It's double for John. He needs 2. He needs 2 books. Thanks, John. I'll give it a bell tomorrow. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, my success is not as good as yours too, but for me, it really is. So whenever I go on holiday, I either get all my clothes out and pack the night before, or like the morning that I'm going. Right. So I thought, right, this time I'm going to be dead organised. So last weekend, I got all my clothes out, ready. Then this weekend just gone, I tried everything on. And tonight, after the show, I'm going to pack my case so that on Thursday morning, I just wake up and pick it up, go and vote, get in the car and go to the airport. So that's my success, is that I'm slightly more organised than normal.
Okay. That's good. I think that's important.
That's because you're probably very more excited than normal.
Yeah, I'm very much last minute, like literally, you know, just take a few things and just even get at them all. I mean, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning anyway, so it's normally in plenty of time. Unless, of course, it's early morning or late night, and then, of course, you've got to be prepared.
I know. I think I've become more prepared for my mum's sanity. My mum kept on saying, have you got your clothes out? Have you packed? Have you got this ready? Have you got that ready? So I think she's more nervous that I don't get, but I always get ready and I always go. But this time I have been a bit more organised, and we did our visas as well. So we're on fire.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're good. We're good to go. We're good to go. So that was my excitement. Okay. Excellent. This or that. Des, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, okay, I'll go first. Craig, I'll ask you first. Okay. You win a red letter day, right? And you can either spend a day with deep sea fishermen, you know, on the trawlers, catching all the lobsters and all that kind of stuff, or you can spend a day with a pleasure helicopter pilot doing pleasure flights. What would you rather do?
Well, before you'd even said the second, that shut down the first one. I went on a fishing trip. I went on a fishing trip once. I'll tell you about it, and I'll never do it again. So this is like back in the day when I was working on the doors in Liverpool, and there was this fishing trip. It was at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning from Rill. So we had to like finish. We went for the Indian meal afterwards because there was about 4 or 5 of us that went. So I had a couple of drinks, but not like to inhibit driving, just with the curry. And then we set off and we got to Rill, like before light dawn. And then we got on this boat and everything looked fine. And then it went out to sea. And then within an hour, like we were casting in to get the first fish. I caught a fish, I got it out, someone put a knife through it, and then I was just ill. And I had to lie down in the boat. And there was so many times I looked over the front of the boat thinking, I reckon I could make that. We were probably about 2 or 3 miles out, but it was that tempting just to give it a go, just to get off the boat. Oh, it was awful. So as soon as you deep sea fishing people and trawlers, I thought, that's not for me. Whatever the other one is, that's for me. And actually, pleasure riding in a helicopter sounds like good fun. I've been in a few helicopters, and that's definitely the best of the two.
Yeah. 100%, exactly the same for me. Same for me. Although I didn't have an Indian before I went on the boat, I'm just not very good on the boat. I'm dead seasick, and I think a helicopter would be lovely to go on. What about you?
Yeah, helicopter. Yeah, I've never been in a helicopter. But funny enough, about 4 years ago, I got Lynn one. I was a present for a birthday, a helicopter ride,
Yeah.
She loved it, you know. So no, but yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, it is cool.
So we might do that soon.
Yeah.
Right, go on out.
Craig, would you rather teach young adults or adults? So would you rather teach like sort of like young people or older people when you're delivering your courses and things?
Yeah, I would rather teach adults. I mean, I remember being at school and being quite unruly. So, and the rest of the class were quite unruly as well. So I've seen some really challenging situations, and it's weird. Younger people don't do as they're told or don't play along, whereas older people are more relaxed in life and they just want to learn. So yeah. I think if it's an environment where people were really passionate about learning, then it wouldn't matter. But I think the way that you pitched that, it was like, this could be bad and this would be very relaxing. Maybe it's just my perception of them two age groups. So definitely the adults.
Yeah. What about you, Des?
So, sorry, it froze a bit there. Is the question teaching younger kids or adults? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Oh, adults, definitely. Yeah, adults. Yeah. So that's my answer. Adults all day long.
Well done, yeah. So I think I'd rather teach younger people because I think they come out with more imagination and they let themselves go a little bit. And you can have a little bit of a laugh with it. You can with an adults as well if you get it. As you say, Craig, you've got to be in the right environment with the right group of people. But if you get good young people, then you just have an amazing session because they're just so open to learning. Go on, Des, your go.
Okay, Helen, I think I'll ask you this first because I think I know the answer. Well, Wimbledon started today and the Olympics start at the end of the month. So what would you rather win? A singles title at Wimbledon or an Olympic gold medal?
I think I'd rather win an Olympic gold medal.
Oh, now you shocked me there. I thought you'd have said the tennis.
No, I think I'd rather win an Olympic. When I was younger, so I did athletics when I was younger, and the Olympics is always, I've always like watched the Olympics and stuff. And I think to compete in the Olympics must just be out of this world. Although I love Wimbledon, I've been to Wimbledon a few times, but I think I'd rather have an Olympic gold medal. Yeah.
What are you, Craig?
It's interesting. I'm trying to think whether this information's just happened to be in my head for some reason. But didn't Andy Murray win both in 1 year? He won the gold medal, didn't he, in the Olympics and
You know what? That's a really good point, that, and I forgot tennis was in the Olympics when I told you the question.
He won the gold medal. And it was at Wimbledon that he won the gold medal.
So you can have both.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you can only have one, what would you rather have?
Don't know. I've always thought of the Olympics as being that kind of elite thing, and tennis, it's not for me. You know, I don't know how people could sit there for the whole day watching that.
Really?
You know? Yeah, it's like, I'm sure people who love tennis would absolutely love it, but tennis and snooker to watch have just been probably not for me. Thanks.
I think you've got to play. I think to appreciate watching tennis, you've got to play it, because then you see the finesse of the shot, and you think, oh, that's an. So like I play tennis, so I'd watch and I'd think, what an amazing shot, and then you're with people and they're like, oh, they just hit the ball over the net, or so I think you've got to sort of like play it and have an appreciation for it. But what about you, Des?
I you know what? I don't know. I think I'd probably go down on the Olympic gold medal, but to win a single title at Wimbledon must be phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
the stamina, especially when they're in a 5 sets. The fitness levels of these guys is incredible, you know. But I think the gold medal is harder to win. So I'd say gold medal.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So that's that. Well, help.
Craig, would you rather watch the Euros or the World Cup?
I think the World Cup's the biggest competition, isn't it? So I think, like, I've been watching the Euros. Hasn't been very exciting, has it? The Euros. I think there's something magical about the World Cup, and the Euros seems like a warm up to the World Cup. You know, the competition in its own right.
I agree with you, and I think this Euros has been the most boring Euros so far, hasn't it? They just haven't come alive yet, have they, any of the teams really?
No.
What about you, Des?
I would probably say the Euros. It's usually better competition, but not this one, you know. And I've got to be honest, I'd confine international football to the Olympics or something like that, because I just don't see the point there at all. I don't see that, and it does me head in when the season starts. Then they have an international break. And then you can argue the point. Well, that's so they can get the system going. But when you see the way they're performing at the tournaments, I don't know what they've been doing, you know. I'm not having a go at Gareth Southgate, because I can't believe how negative the press are in this country and the media. And I don't know what they're expecting. We haven't won nothing since 1966. So what are you expecting? And it could be argued that Southgate's been one of the most successful managers since that time, you know. But he should have changed a few things, I think. But
Definitely.
We're not him, and he has to make the decisions, you know. But I think he needs to get off his back a little bit. It's been a little bit over the top, I think, you know. But that's just
everyone has an opinion, don't they? That's the thing. Everyone has an opinion until you're in that position, isn't it? You know.
The interesting thing about that is they're not playing as a team, are they? That's like one of the things.
That is the point.
Individually, the players are amazing in the Premiership, best players in the world, but they don't gel as a team. You know, that happens in the World Cup. It's happening now in the Euros. They're just not connecting. They're not fluent. They're not playing well with each other. They're all stars in their own right, but they're just not working together, and that's difficult. Like in the workplace as well. You know, if you bring together on a project, even though they're brilliant in their own departments, when you bring them together, if you don't get them working well as a cohesive team, then things can fall apart rapidly.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think they need to bring in sort of like the lower league teams, the best of them, and have like an England team. Because when Greece won the Euros, everyone was like, "Oh, Greece won't win," and they went on to win because they played as a team. They didn't have superstars, but they played as a team.
Yeah.
So they went out there and fought for each other and just played great football.
That's what I mean. If you look at all the other teams, they look like a team. England have never, to me, looked like a team ever.
Yeah.
So I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, what does he say? You can have a team with great players in, but great players don't make a team.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But we're still in it.
You should
we're still in it.
Over enthusiastic
It's a hot day.
fans.
You're down at the pier head. glass half full. Right, glass one. It's a hot day. You're down at the pier head, and the ice cream van's there. Would you get a 99er with the flake in, or do you get one of them screwballs with the chewy at the bottom?
Yes.
Craig.
Yeah, definitely the 99er for me. I think I was wondering what was coming next. You always seem to put the best thing. Well, actually, it wasn't. It was the worst thing there, and now the best thing. Because once I got into the 99er, I was thinking, I'm not interested in anything else. And then as soon as you mention the little chewy balls in the bottom of them, just takes you back to childhood. So obviously I haven't had them for years. But I remember it, in the bottom where you'd be scooping away like mad.
Shaking it the chewy out. And it was the worst tasting chewy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like the flavour had just been washed off it with the ice cream. So not a great treat.
Yeah. Screwball for me, hands down. I used to absolutely love them. And then you get the chewy, and as you say, it was like the worst tasting chewy, no flavour.
Yeah.
But you were that excited to eat it that you couldn't wait to get another one next time.
Hello, yeah. You'd be licking it like mad, wouldn't you, to get down to the chewy, Yeah. But I think it's an age thing.
Yeah.
For me now, it's the 99er. We'd have to have the flaker,
Yeah.
Have to have the flaker.
100%. 100%.
Go.
Okay. Craig, would you rather go to Glastonbury or the Super Bowl?
Worst first, I'm afraid, for that one. I couldn't think of nothing worse than standing in the field at Glastonbury, particularly when it's wet. So, that's just not for me. And I've always been fascinated by the Super Bowl, actually. I mean, I haven't watched it for years. When I was a kid, I'd sit up late to watch it. So I've always been fascinated by that. So definitely the Super Bowl for me.
What about you, Des?
Super Bowl for me. I can't think of anything more ghastly than going to Glastonbury, to be honest with you.
That was a bit odd, wasn't it? Ghastly.
Well, you can't get a proper wash. God knows what the toilet situation's like. And so no, it's not for me, Glastonbury, at all.
Oh.
And did you hear the sound?
Glastonbury hands.
The sound system when the other night, I think it was Shania Twain and me.
Yeah.
Well, what have I paid this for? No, not good at all. So Glastonbury, no, it's never appealed to me whatsoever. So the Super Bowl for me.
Glastonbury hands down for me, even though I watch the Super Bowl every year.
Would it?
Yeah, I apply for tickets, never get them, but Glastonbury for me. Yeah, I just think it'd be unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh, no chance.
Unless so my Uncle Ron's listening. Unless Stevie Wonder, my Uncle Ron's listening. He says the FA Cup knocks spots off international games. It does indeed.
I think he's
love
right.
the FA Cup.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Ron.
Yeah. So, Des, I'm going to let you introduce Craig because you know Craig better than I do. And you've known him for a long time. And then we're going to hand it over to Craig to have a little chat and tell us what he's up to and what he's been doing.
Okay, well, the guest tonight is Craig Carden. I've known Craig now for what must be over 20 years now. A former Marine. He's a social media guru. But in the last 10 years or so, he's come to the fore in leadership and management, you know, and becoming one of the leading voices in that field. So, good evening, Craig.
Good evening, Des. And Helen, thank you for the invitation on.
Yeah. So tell us when you were in school, because you mentioned before that you were in a bit of a rowdy class and stuff. How'd you go from a rowdy class to a Marine to a published author?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think when I grew up, the school that I went to Carl Godfrey first, which was a good school. You had to pass the 11 plus back in the day to be able to go to that school. So it was a good school, great. You know, we were talking about football. The football team in every year won the cup and the league and everything. So it was a really sporty school. But in the third year, we mixed with St. Nick's and it became Nugent, which was, you know, one of these amalgamations that were going on around the city. So that school was quite rough, you know. So there wasn't a lot of teachers found it difficult. You know, supply teachers were sent in a lot, and kids didn't really want to listen or pay attention. I thought I was good at school, actually. I told myself the story that I was like studious and, you know, well behaved and that. And in the house where I live, you know, I was born in this house, and a few years ago, it got modernised. Not that long ago, but about 7 years ago, 6 years ago, it got modernised. And I come looking for my old school certificates, because I did manage to get like 9 O levels from school, 5, and then I went to sixth form for the year and got 4 more because I needed English. So that was quite good results at my time, because most people didn't get qualifications and some people got 2 or 3. So I felt like I'd studied hard. And then I found like an old school report in the same cupboard where my certificates were. I had to knock the dust off them. And I sat down and I started reading the report, and it was like class clown, you know, always trying to get attention, you know, always causing a fuss. It needs to, you know, not going to do well in life, you know, yeah, lots of like, and I was shocked. I was thinking, who is this child? You know, this isn't me. And like, I was a good kid. So it was a bit of a like shock to read some of that things. But then when I think back to the school, the way that I described it before, so it was like that. I was just part of the ruckus, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously I went to sixth form for a year. I got the qualification. University was free then. So lots of people were doing A levels and going to university. And I've been working on the market since I was young, 14, 15, 16, up to right the way through that sixth form. And then I come home from work one day, and my dad had a newspaper out, and he said, look at this, join the Royal Marines, go and see the world. And I thought, well, that looks exciting. That looks like something to do. So that's what I did. That's what I spent my early years, you know, with the Marines, you know, good time, good life. First experience of leadership, passing my junior command course at a very young age. And that was like one of the differences between obviously the military and civiliancy, which I'll come on to. But then, you know, after that, I run a security company for like 10 years, run scuba diving businesses, travel agents, lived in Spain where I was an estate agent. So I've been around the world, seen lots of different things, lots of different businesses, lots of experience. And I've always been around like training, development, instruction. You know, I was a scuba diving instructor as well at one time. So I've always been involved in personal and professional development. So then, you know, more recently over the years, you know, I've done 2 master's degrees. I'm just finishing off a PhD. So for the last probably 20 years, I've been involved in leadership development, studying, academia, and I've been writing for years in you know, one guise or another. and more recently, I've got 3 books, or I was working on 3 books. I've managed to publish 2 of them. First one is Sacred Texts, Modern Leaders, and it's about how ancient wisdom blends with modern management. That's the one.
So I'm going to share all of these on. You can get them off Amazon. So I'm going to share all of the links when on this interview when we finished. So yeah, sorry, Craig, go on.
Yeah, no. So the latest one that I published this week is called Mastering Leadership, and it's from accidental manager to inspirational leader. So there's a theme about my writing, my PhD research is all about accidental managers. So in this country, you know, a recent report by Chartered Management Institute last year identified 82% of managers as accidental managers. It equates to about 2.4 million managers in the UK who are these accidental managers.
Can you explain what you mean by accidental manager?
Yeah, of course. So an accidental manager, some people go to university, get a business degree, do management qualifications, determined to be a leader or manager. But most people are accidental managers. So they're working in a place and they've been there a few years, and the manager leaves, and then they're next in line. Or you join a company, your friends, relatives, or people that you know, your connections in a management system, and you get promoted through favoritism, if you like. And sometimes it's just because you see the opportunity and you put your name forward, and then you step into it because you're stuck in a job and you feel like, if you get some more money and you're doing the job anyway, you'll be fine at it. The big problem is in UK PLC, which is, all the organizations, is that there's no management development programs. Some companies do. Some people in organizations really believe in the difference between trained and untrained. Yeah. But I work for a company at the moment called Unicourse. They're a distance learning company. We're delivering like a level 5 leadership and management qualification. Now, just to give you an indication, there are 63 different units on management that you could choose from that make up what leadership and management is. If you look at the government standards where the apprenticeships have come in, there is a whole host of criteria that a manager is supposed to do. Now, when you ask an accidental manager, they've probably got 1, 2, or 3 skills out of 100, literally just making it up as they go along. And that's why, in industry, if you think about productivity in the UK, when we were in the European Union, we were 13% behind the rest of Europe. And if you look at Germany, who was the most productive country, we were 26% behind them. What does that cost us as a country? The cost of poor productivity linked to these accidental managers is 84 billion a year. Now, that sounds like a big number, but just to put it in context, the whole of the university system in the UK, and we think about how many students that is, makes a contribution of 93 billion. So not far apart between what we're losing in poor management and what we're gaining with all the education in this country, just to put a scale on it. But everybody has had an experience of working for a poor manager. So what does a poor manager cause? Well, we talked about, just mentioned productivity, and how we're the least productive country in Europe. Because nobody wants to work hard for a poor manager or a company where they don't feel valued, which is the responsibility of the manager. So poor managers are linked to poor production, attrition. So people don't leave jobs, they leave bad managers. Yeah. So lots of people are in an organization, they're okay with the job, but the manager's just driving them crazy and they'll leave. If they can leave and find another job, they will. If you get paid, and lots of people, I've been a trade union rep in a past life as well. Now, and when people will stay off for like 6 months, come back just for a few weeks or months, just to top up the sickness pay again and go off, because again, linked to poor management. In this country, the average person takes 6 days off a year, through stress linked to poor management. 6 days
Yes.
per
It's
person.
like more than a week, isn't it? Because it's like 5-day week work.
5-day weeks. So yeah, so you could look at that. It's a good way to, more than a week, a year, you take off. The average person takes off because of a poor manager. So it's a huge problem. It costs organizations the cost of constantly recruiting and training people, the sickness cost, stress, mental health in the workplace. All of these resources, are being kind of a plaster to fix a problem where really, if you developed and trained managers in the first place, like I mentioned with the military, if you want to be a commander or a manager leader in the military, you have to put your name forward, you have to go away, prepare, you have to go on a course, you have to pass the course, and then you go back, and then you'll eventually get promoted when you're ready. Here, you can be a worker one day, and the very next day, you're a manager. You have the title of a manager. You've got the pay increase for a manager, but there's no training whatsoever for that. The manager's there one day or doesn't turn up and they've gone, and then you're the manager. Now, you imagine a situation like you're just about to board your plane next week, and the captain doesn't turn up, and one of the cabin crew says, "I'll give it a go." Would you still fly on that plane?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. No, you're right. And we know lots of people, as you were saying before, they get promoted because they've been there a long time. And that's one of the worst things ever. Oh, he's been there the longest, he's next in line. And you're like, well, what qualifies that? They haven't got the skills, they haven't got the communication, they haven't got the ideas. And that always frustrates me, because younger people, might, or somebody who's just joined the company might be amazing, and they get, you're never going to get it, are you? Because you haven't been here long enough, which is just
But do you know what I call them? The curse of commerce, Craig, because there's no need for suppressive management, and there never has been, and they're just terrible to have in the workplace, and micromanagers, dear me. What's all that about, And that causes people to become ill. And from a sales point of view, it can lead to improper selling. And that's just not good for anyone, So I can't agree with you more. There's nothing worse than a bad manager. And the country seems to be littered with them.
Would you use the word curse?
I'm speaking as a C, It's,
you use the word curse, which is interesting because Chartered Management Institute, going back to 2017 when leadership management apprenticeships first come out, they called it the curse of the accidental manager, and Economist magazine called it the cult of the gifted amateur. So it's them that language is right. Now, this is nothing against the accidental managers because it's not their fault. So like these are good people put in bad situations. So when people step up into management, it should be commended because obviously they're being brave and they're going forward. But without the proper training, development, and support, they're set up to fail. They're really, really set up to fail. And two things are caused by it. Most people that step up into management, because they've done the technical role or the functional role, when they step up into management, you'll find that they start working harder than the rest of the team because they're getting paid more and they're managing, they're responsible. Other people take the foot off the gas because the manager is there doing all the work. So they'll still do their 40 hours a week as normal, and then they'll stay behind later or come in earlier to try and do the management stuff because they haven't got time to do the management stuff while they're doing a technical or functional role and trying to keep the wheels in motion. So they're doing it in their own time, and that causes them to burn out. It also causes the teams to burn out because the teams are being overworked under pressure. They feel, unsettled because the manager, isn't confident in themselves. They don't feel confident. And the whole thing unravels very quickly. And burnout for them and the burnout for the manager, are significant factors. Mental health and the growth of mental health, in the workplace. The resources that are having to be put in now because of the problem that's in the system with this accident managers.
See, they're the ones I feel sorry for. The ones that don't feel sorry for are the ones that change, goes to the head a little bit,
Okay.
They're the ones that can cause problems,
But I can have empathy for them as well, because what happens is when you first there's different kinds of leadership styles. So the one that you relate to going to the head is probably people who have an autocratic leadership style. So their manager, because they lack confidence and certainty in what they're doing, they raise their voices, or they'll be micromanagers, or they'll shout and tell people what to do because they feel, because they've got the management position, they have to do it that way. So it's not really that's the type of person they are. They just don't really know how to handle it. And when you're in charge, you feel if you shout at people, that shows that you're in charge. Or if you tell people what to do, that shows that you're in charge. If you delegate and go, right, I want you to do this and you to do that. And nobody likes to do that, and this is like a skill. So in the workplace, when you're trained to be a leader or a manager, you would say delegating the right task to the right person at the right time, if they've got the right appetite for it. So if you've got someone in a team that's been doing the same job in and out, and they could be really good at it, but they're fed up with it and they want to do something different. You've got someone else in the team over here that wants to challenge and would really love to do that job, but can't because this person's always delegated for. As somebody who's trained in management, emotional intelligent management as well, will be able to identify, step back and think, okay, you really want to do this job. You're fed up with doing it. Let's switch jobs or do something different. Or let's get this person to coach this new person to come along and do the job. So but how would you know how to do that if no one's ever shown you or taught you? Or you've never read about it or learned about it? How would you know how to delegate other than instinctively? I don't have a lot of time because I'm doing everyone's job on my own. You do this, you do that, you do that. And then management comes in because you're good at that job. That's why you're being promoted. Now you've got a new member of the team and they're not doing the job as well as you did. And you're getting frustrated. And sometimes you have to do the job after they've done a bad job. So then you sit on someone's shoulder and then you try and kind of micromanage them until they get it right. And then you can move on to the next thing. So this behavior isn't, something, well, it's because the fact that they haven't been trained to do it properly. So they're acting on instinct. So this micromanagement, this, autocratic, telling people leadership style, they're just evidence of amateur managers.
So what are the things in place then? So you were talking before about the leadership qualifications and things like that. How does somebody do they self-refer onto these courses, or are they referred through their workplaces, or what sort of companies are buying into this?
Okay, well, it's a combination of both. So if you think about it, I mean, apprenticeships are one of the things that have been brought into play. And so back in 2012, there was something called the Richard Review. So it's Doug Richards of Dragon's Den. Do you remember him, the American guy?
Yeah. A
while ago. It was back in 2012. So they commissioned him to look at apprenticeships. The old style apprenticeships were frameworks, very much tick box exercises. People would come into the workplace and said, have you done that? Have you done that? Have you done that? Great, go away. Here's your certificate. And then they said, that's not a very good system and people aren't really getting trained properly. And employers should have more to do with how people get trained. So on the back of the Richard Review in 2017, in May 2017, we brought out standards in apprenticeships. So standards were put together by groups called Trailblazers, and Trailblazers were experts from industry, from the government, from public and private sector. So you had like the Institute of Leadership and Management, Chartered Management Institute, someone like Barclays, someone like the NHS, you know, where they're kind of leadership and management development people come together and say, right, okay, an operations manager at level 5 should be able to communicate, delegate, project manage, operations management, and they need to do all these criteria, and that becomes the standard. So the standard is then a training company could come along. Now, this is kind of what my research looks at. First of all, you've got a list of criteria, but it doesn't tell you what you should teach. Like all them books in the behind you, you could say, okay, if you want to learn about the war or Europe, you need this book, that book, that book, and that book. Yeah. And then if you learn them, you'll be able to have good knowledge of it. With the standard, that's left to the interpretation of the training company. So the training company will go, okay, if they need to know about delegation, we're going to use this. If we want to know about motivation, we're going to use Abraham Maslow's model. Yeah. If we're going to use communication, Shannon and Weaver. And then you put together a course that at the end of it, which is called endpoint assessment, people would have the knowledge, skills, and behavior to pass it. And it sets up like a driving test where you do all your theory and your learning and practical skills, and then you go for an assessment with an examiner. And if you do well, then you pass. The problem is with the apprenticeship system, I said before, 2.4 million managers in the UK, and we have about 24,000 apprenticeships each year. So it's only 1%. So it's only the tip of the iceberg. And the dropout rate is like 50%. So out of the 24,000 that start, 12,000 drop out. Some because of poor training providers, some because they're not getting the commitment from the workplace, some because life comes in the way, some with a whole combination of them, which is why they drop out. But apprenticeships are paid for by the levy. Big companies pay into the levy. Small businesses pay a small amount, in some cases none, to train their people. So there's a vehicle there, if you like, to train people to be managers that's funded. The companies can sponsor people. So in my organization, a company might sponsor you to do a level 5 leadership and management in your own time. So they'll pay for it, but you've got to spend your time studying it. With an apprenticeship, you study during the work hours and your contracted hours. So this one, they could sponsor it. Another one is you pay for yourself. I've paid for all my education. All my degrees I've paid for. I've paid for every course that I've been on. So I've invested. If I had to look at how much I've invested in my education over the last 30 years, probably £400,000-500,000.
Yeah.
You know.
But then when you're investing in yourself, you're probably more likely to do it, aren't you? You know.
Exactly. Yeah. You know,
because it's a choice, isn't it? And you want to become a better version of yourself. So it's self-development for you, isn't it? And personal development.
And it doesn't have to be. I mean, some things now as well, you don't have to spend money to get educated. We've got the internet. You've got like things like TED.com. We've got the world's experts. You can go on Audible and get like a top book a month for like £7 or £8. You can buy books on Amazon. I mean, if you get like second-hand books, you know, they can be like 50p a pound and postage. And there's lots of resources online, lots of blogs, and so you just have to invest time. I think that's like, it's not even about money and being able to afford to do that and investing. You have got to put some time in. I mean, I'm someone that studied or put CPD, you know, get up at 5 in the morning, you know, I'll do 3 hours CPD a day, and I've done that for like 33 years. Now, when you add that up, that equates to like 50,000 hours of study on leadership and management, on ancient wisdom, on psychology, on psychometrics. So a lot of information learned over the years, which is why I'm an educator now, to share that kind of knowledge and wisdom with other people. But like, if you're in a leadership and management position and your organization's not investing in you, then you've had a pay increase by right to being a manager. You should invest some of that extra pay packet in, learning and developing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. So what are your masters in?
Yeah, my first masters I'd done in 25 years ago, actually, and I'd done an MBA. So it was a Master of Business Administration in Entrepreneurial Management. That was like my first university experience, and I finished top of the course. There was 40 people on the course. I got a distinction. There was 2 merits, and the rest got like a pass.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to study academically, which was tough.
How did you find that? Because you went from the military to then, and then being able to go, and how did you learn how to study in a for a master's?
It was difficult because I had the security business at the time when I went to university. So I'd had that about 7 or 8 years. So I'd learned things about being an entrepreneur. I mean, I used to have over 100 people work for me, looked after 52 Asda stores across the Northwest. So we had security teams, different teams, multiple sites, multiple locations, doing taxes and accounts. And so I learned a lot of skills before I got anywhere near the university. But like when I got to the university, I thought, well, I'm worldly wise and I've got all this knowledge and that. And then the first ever academic assignment I got given, it was like an entrepreneurial thing. And I thought, well, nailed this. I'll just tell them how to run a business and you do this and you bing, bang, bosh. And then I handed it in and I failed. So I handed it in and I failed. And I was thinking, I don't understand what's wrong. I said, I'll give you the keys to the kingdom there. What's up with you? And but it was like I wrote about the entrepreneurial case or the business case or feasibility study, whatever it was at that time. And I didn't write academically, and that's what was wrong. It wasn't what I said that was important. I had to put an academic argument together. These scholars suggest that, this is to be an entrepreneur, these are the best things to do. But these scholars, disagree. They believe that, this and there's evidence to support this and the evidence to support that. And you have to be able to put together this argument about, the pros and cons of each. And then you can come up with a conclusion based upon this and my experience. Then I would suggest. So then when I resubmitted, I think I like 75% or something. I'd done really well once I figured out how to do it. But for that first score, if you fail it the first time and it's a return, 40% flat mark. So I had this idea that I wanted to get a distinction. To get a distinction, it was like, over 75% across the whole course. And in this particular instance, because I bombed out on the first one, I was up against it. And it was actually only on my final dissertation I scored like 85% or something. It was outrageous. But that was the difference between the merit and the distinction. It was like 1% or something. Yeah. But I had to make up that score from 40 all the way up. So I learned how to write academically. I done a second master's in 2010, a master's in research degree at Liverpool John Moores, and that's the preparation for the PhD. So you do 2 years doing quantitative, qualitative research, and obviously doing your thesis. And then at that time, I didn't have the funding to stay there, so I had to go back into the workplace, and I finally went for the PhD again in 2018. So I've been at it for 6 years. So I'm just at the end of it, but it's been a lot of work. Yeah. And this time through, I've moved house a few times. We had the pandemic. Just about everything in life that could go wrong has gone wrong. So it's been quite a challenge to study for that long. And even there, with all that experience and stuff, you still write about things. And then when other academics or scholars will look at it, they'll say, oh, I don't like it, it's not right, and everything else. So you're constantly having to defend your position, which is right. Constructive criticism is really good. And despite all of them years of learning, I learn something new every day because I present myself like an empty teacup, you know, so there's always room for more learning. You know, that's the way that I see it. And whenever I'm delivering leadership and management workshops or coaching sessions, it's always about being present, paying attention, listen to what people are saying, watching what people are doing, and continuously learning. So I think that's like one of the most important things for me in life is that lifelong learning and always the ability to stop, pay attention to people, and never assume that you know something or you know more than somebody else in any particular situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Always keep an open mind.
So when's book 3 going to be ready, do you think?
Oh, so book 3. Now, this is a big book. So I've been working on this for quite a while. So I'm not sure whether to present it as a full book, which would be about 600 pages, or actually break it down into 5 volumes, because the books correlate to kind of learning about leadership and management. So the first chapter, which could be a book by itself, it's called Mastering Personal and Professional Development. The next one is Mastering Influence. First one is all about getting your ship in order, if you like. It's all about discipline, time management, prioritization. The next one is about communication, mastering influence. The next one is building high-performance teams. The next level is driving efficiency, effectiveness, driving productivity and performance. And then the top of the kind of pyramid of this like model that I've built is project management, because there's lots of people who do projects that are accidental managers too. And you only have to look at something like HS2 and people go, why is it taking so long? Why is it billions over budget? Why did he keep making these big mistakes? Because that HS2 project is full of accidental managers who've got no idea what they're doing, making it up as they go along, and they're working on part of a project which is, being intrusive to somebody else's project. It's like dominoes, but really, to think that all them skills that you would need to be a project manager successfully, and you can be, oh, you're in the team, we need a project manager. Oh, I'll do it. Oh, good. Let's do that then.
Yeah. I've got a packet of post-it notes. It'll be me.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. My laptop just died.
That's all right. You're still here. You're back again.
I'm back again.
So you mentioned the book. So this book is called Emotionally Intelligent Leadership: The Accidental Manager's Guide to Mastery. So this book encompasses everything that you need to know about leadership and management from the Institute of Leadership and Management perspective, Chartered Management Institute, and that government standard I mentioned before. So I've studied this and been delivering it for the last 7 years, in apprenticeships, now moved into distance learning. But really, I've brought together everything, combined it with the ancient wisdom from the first book, and also blended it with psychometrics. So this is like everything you need to know about leadership and management for the accidental manager. Plus I'm blending it with ancient wisdom, which we have lots to learn from. And then using science of psychometric tests to measure people's emotional intelligence and personality profiling, so that you're not only managing from knowledge and building skills, you're also doing it in an emotionally intelligent way, how we communicate with each other, how we delegate, how we organize ourselves, how we pick the right job for the right person at the right time. It's all about emotional intelligence. So if it's ever going to be a book to buy in management, that's the one. So this is going to be the New York Times bestseller.
100%. I hope so, Craig. Well, do you know what happens, Craig? When people come on here, right, we are a platform to greatness. So people come on here and then all this. So you'll be on here. Des has now got his book published. Yours will be published and you'll be #1 in the New York Times.
There you go. New York Times.
Why wouldn't you be?
Ellen, you won't believe this. I've seen some of it. It's phenomenal.
I can imagine.
Really is. And to be honest, if it hadn't been for Craig, I wouldn't have got mine over the line either. So
24 hours.
well, a book between sleep
Thing is, like Des's
But,
book as well, this isn't a book that you will read. It's a book that teaches you about something, but then tells you how to apply it in practice. Like Des's book is talking a sales story, but then there's some reflective questions and action points. So everything about me and my research is about knowledge into practice, not knowledge for knowledge's sake, but actually taking it and implementing it, and it becomes a skill. So if you don't do something on a daily basis, you know, Aristotle talks about excellence. Excellence isn't something you do one-off. Excellence is a habit you develop. Like going back to the Olympics, day in, day out, training, drilling, and then finally the competition, the preparation for it. That's developed.
Usain Bolt, doesn't he? Usain Bolt said he's got a really famous quote that he trained for, I don't know, X amount of years and something else to run for 9 seconds.
Yeah.
That's it. His Achilles heel was coming out of the blocks, wasn't it? If you look at his first Olympics, I think he come like 9th.
Yeah.
And then he became the fastest man on the planet. Yeah. But his Achilles heel and where he drilled was coming out of the starting blocks. You know, and you see people all the time, you know, false starts going at the wrong time. And if you can be as fast as you can, but if you're slow coming out of the blocks, you lose half a second. And that can be the difference when you know.
Isn't it for them, isn't it? You know, that's
hundredths of a second can be the difference between gold and nowhere.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, super interesting. Our hour is up. It's gone super fast. We haven't done any of our other questions. We just spoke to Craig because it was dead interesting. So a very quick one. What are you reading at the moment?
Sorry?
If you've got any time to read, what are you reading at the moment?
The book that I'm reading at the moment is here, Being Nobody, Going Nowhere. So it's a book about Buddhist meditations. So that's my latest book. Yeah.
I'm just going to look on Audible
because
I'm actually listening to
Going Nowhere.
I'm listening to Spoon Fed by Tim Spector, which is fascinating because it's all myths about food that we've been told over the years. And he's a doctor and he's gone, that's not true. That's not true. It's the scientific evidence. And it's just fascinating. So so I'm listening. I've nearly finished that one. Yeah. What are you listening to, reading, Des?
I've just finished. It's one of our guys' books here.
Oh,
Sacred Texts, Modern Leaders, Ancient Wisdom for Today's Leadership.
Brilliant.
And it's got some good case studies in it too. So it was really interesting, Craig. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And it's an interesting take on stuff as well. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Excellent stuff.
So I am going to say a massive thank you to Des for standing in for Sandra this evening. A massive thank you to Craig for giving his time for us this evening.
You're welcome.
We will share all of your links on Amazon, and if anyone wants to get in touch with Craig, we'll put his details on. Des's book is now published, so everybody go on and buy it. If you want a signed copy, it's double the price. And unfortunately, there won't be a show next week.
Why is that, Helen?
Oh, that's because Sandra, myself, and Rach will be coming home from New York.
New York.
2 more sleeps. We've got 2 more sleeps. So yes. So
you should do the helicopter trip. You should do the helicopter trip in New York.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we're going on the helicopter, not the boat. But we are going.
I went on that one time actually, and part of the trip was going past the Twin Towers. That's how long ago that was. Wow. So I actually flew past the Twin Towers, the helicopter.
Yeah, do you know what? You used to be able to get half-price tickets for Broadway at the bottom of the Twin Towers. Every morning between 9 and 10. They used to put them on sale, you know, and all the students were there in the queue, you know. Well, you'll have a great time, Helen, and you will love it.
We'll try our very best.
How long's the flight? How long's the flight to New York?
I think it's 7 hours.
Wow, I think when I done it was 3.5 or 3 hours.
No, you'll do that in 5, Helen. Yeah.
Did you do it with your jetpack on?
No, I went to New York once on Concorde. So 1,400 miles an hour. Yeah.
Amazing.
Mark 2. Yeah.
Brilliant. Fabulous. Love it.
Liz Early was on the plane.
You get 5 shows out of him. You get 5 shows out of
Oh, I know,
Craig.
100%. He's definitely got to come back when he does his new book. He's definitely going to come back.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a massive thank you to you both. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I'm
Ellen. Have a great
my
time.
soup taste. I will
Yeah.
try. But we're going to
Have a
ask
great
Craig.
time, yeah.
Thanks, love. We're going to ask Craig to end the show with a closing quote. Do you have a mantra closing quote that you live by?
Wow, the Aristotle one is one for me. So excellence isn't something that happens just once. You know, it's something that's built up in a habit. That's not the exact quote, but that's the meaning of what Aristotle said about developing excellence in something. It's about the Olympics. It's about that training. It's about putting in the effort day in, day out.
Anything, isn't it? Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Des. And I will speak to you later.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Craig. See you later.
No. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Let me there.